Hi, I'm Ron Usher, and it's Friday, January 16, 2009. I'm here with Richard Bell.
That's who I am, and this is actually the first sort of interview between Ron and I that we're posting on the Facebook page for buyers of real estate in Greater Vancouver. And what we want to talk about in this short video is first-time buyers and property transfer tax.
Yeah, what's great about this changing market, all of a sudden more homes in Vancouver are coming into the range where they qualify for the first-time buyer exemption. The problem is, of course, if you're a first-time buyer, if the property is over $425,000, then on a sliding scale to $450,000, you don't get the rebate. But with declining prices, all of a sudden, you're going to be saving thousands of dollars in tax.
So if you could find that $425,000 deal, that's the best deal you can ever get in terms of saving taxes.
That's right, because you've maximized the saving, and you know that home was selling for $475,000 not too long ago. So all of a sudden you're getting the exemption. Now, of course, to qualify, you've got to have never owned before. In other words, you could own land, but as long as you never owned a residence, and this is anywhere in the world, mind you.
So like really anywhere in the
Like
world?
really anywhere in the world. And you've got to be a Canadian citizen and an immigrant. You've got to have lived in BC for the last 2 years. So you're going to have a social insurance number. But other than that, away you go. And the other thing people don't often get is this can be mixed and matched. In other words, even if just one of you, say you're getting married, you've got your partner owned before, well, you can still get this on half of the value.
Okay. And the other thing that I know I've seen a couple of times, Ron, is where we've got a couple that both would qualify, and what they end up doing is buying in one name, and then the other spouse ends up being the guarantor under the mortgage, and so they can save that exemption for the next property they buy.
Exactly, particularly if you know you're going to be moving in the next little while. That way you don't lose what's a very valuable, a multi-$1,000 benefit here in BC.
So here's one for you. So yeah, I owned a property before because I had some friends and they needed someone else to be on title, so I went on title for them, but I never actually lived there.
Right, as long as it wasn't your residence. Okay, I did one of those this morning where a brother, sister are going on. Well, only one of them is going to be living in it. They need the two of them for mortgage and other purposes. But because it's not the residence of the sister, when she goes to buy eventually, it will still be her first time purchase.
So as we go through it, so you must never have owned a principal residence anywhere in the world. You must be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident. You got this $425,000 threshold declining where you're not getting any sort of credit if it's up to $450,000, and you have to move in within 92 days.
And here's the other key: people gotten caught on this one. You've got to live there for a full year. You move out or you sell it in 6 months, the tax man's going to come knocking saying, "We want half the money, please."
Okay, so you get a partial benefit on that.
Right, and the key on those is when they send you that letter at the end of the year, don't ignore it. All you have to do is mail it back, and you'll be fine.
So the other key one, as I recall, in fact, I don't recall this, in fact, I know this, but it seems like a good thing to say here in this video, is living in the province for at least 12 months. Although there are there's another little sort of provision if you filed income tax as a BC resident for 2 years out of the last 6 years. So that's one that also...
And, sure. Another one is if you become a permanent resident during the first year, you can get a partial. So, for example, today, you're not a landed resident, but 6 months from now, you still could get a 6-month rebate. You have to apply for that down the road. Usually, you apply for the exemption right at the time of the purchase. Okay. But if you're an immigrant, you can apply for it later when your status gets clarified within the first year of ownership.
Well, I think that sort of covers it off.
Well, and what I should mention is there's great stuff on if you just Google Property Transfer Tax BC, you'll go to a very informative site on the Government of BC site, and there's lots of great information there.
You know what, we've got information on our website as well. So here goes the commercial, folks, www.bellalliance.ca. And so this is our first go at this, so get on the discussion board, let us know what you think, and if you've got other topics, we'll do this, Mutt and Jeff routine from time to time. It's going to be fun. Eventually we'll get to be actual sort of natural at doing this, one would hope.
Well, thanks, Dave Letterman. Richard Bell, and we'll do this again.
Dave Letterman, top 10 things about Bush was on the other night. That was kind of cool.
Cool. Anyway, we'll look for your questions. Thanks a lot, folks.
Thanks, Bye now.